With most of our blue planet covered by water, it's a little wonder that centuries ago, the oceans were believed to hide mysterious creatures including sea serpents and mermaids. Merfolk, that is, mermaids and mermen, many children are perhaps most familiar with the Disney version of The Little Mermaid, a somewhat sanitized version of a Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale first published in 1837. In the original tale, saying that they are very different is quite the understatement. In folklore, mermaids were often associated with misfortune and death, luring errant sailors off course and even onto rocky shoals. Though not as well known as their comely female counterparts, there are of course mermen, and they have an equally fierce reputation for summoning storms, sinking ships, and drowning sailors. They also aren't depicted as we know them today. Today we're going to talk about the tales of mermaids as they were originally meant to be. Vile creatures who bring nothing but disaster and misfortune to men. The last story is particularly disturbing, so make sure you stay tuned for that one. Here are the 5 scariest sightings of mermaids. Number 5. The Orionkhan. Mer beings have been present in folklore throughout the world since practically as long as folklore has been around. And yet, as much as the idea of half-human, half-fish beings may sound like mere flights of fancy, there are numerous reports of real-life sightings and encounters with strange mer beings from all over the world. During World War II, amidst the fighting that was quickly flaming across the Pacific, there is an interesting case that was reported by Japanese soldiers from the K Islands of Indonesia in 1943. The K Islands, also known as the Kai Islands, are located in the southeastern part of the Molucca Islands of Indonesia. It was in this gorgeous island paradise of postcard-perfect, pristine white sand beaches that a most peculiar and mysterious case of real mer beings occurred. In 1943, Japanese soldiers stationed with a surveillance team on a small remote island within the K Island chain reported seeing strange creatures in the water that were said to have limbs and a face somewhat similar to a human, however had a mouth like a carp, filled with needle-like teeth. These bizarre creatures were described as typically being around 150 centimeters tall, and having pink or salmon-colored skin, as well as prominent spines or spikes of some sort on their heads or even their necks and shoulders. These strange beasts were not really keeping with the image of what a mermaid should look like at all. Unlike the more classical mermaids, these mer beings were not described as attractive maidens, and did not have holy fish tails. Rather, they possessed 2 long arms and 2 prominent frog-like legs, both of which ended in wicked talons. These creatures were called the Orionkhan by the locals. Stories suggest that these creatures are peaceful and would rather stay away from land dwellers as much as possible. But just seeing one of these weird and terrifying creatures would be enough to scare even a seasoned soldier. Number 4. The Hebridean Mermaid. Scotland has countless mysteries and legends, with mermaids taking a place in their folklore. However, in 1830, a mermaid was apparently seen and subsequently killed by the people of Benbecula. According to the story, people were busy cutting seaweed at Segir na Ducat near Grimnes on the west coast of the island of Benbecula. One woman spotted a creature several yards out in the water. The creature looked like a woman in miniature. Alarmed, she called the others working on the shore who also saw this strange sight. Men went into the water to try to catch the creature, but she evaded them. A boy aimed a rock at her, which struck her on the back, and she cried out in pain and disappeared beneath the waves. A few days later, a creature was washed up dead on the beach at Cole Bay near the township of Nunton, which lies a few miles north of this spot. The creature was said to have the upper shape of a well-developed woman, but was around the size of a 4-year-old girl. She had long, dark, glossy hair and white skin. However, her lower half was described as being like a salmon, but without the scales. The local sheriff was called. Upon seeing the creature, he called for a shroud and coffin to be brought to the beach, and the creature was later put into this and buried in the nearby churchyard. It was said that the funeral for this creature was one of the largest attended on the island. It was carried out like any proper Christian burial. No grave marker related to the incident can be seen at the churchyard, and others have said that the creature was buried near the dunes and not in the churchyard at all. In fact, a recent survey of a large stone near the south end of the bay was carried out, suspecting that this may indeed be the resting place of the mermaid, but this was inconclusive. Number 3. The Mamba Muntu. Water is very important in African cultural beliefs and is often an integral part of creation narratives. Traditional beliefs in water spirits may also play a role in discouraging some swimmers. Water spirits exist in traditional African religions that can embody both good and evil. Water spirits in particular were believed to exist and take the form of snakes or mermaids, or a combination of both. One spirit in particular is a mermaid often referred to as Mami Wata or Mamba Muntu, who exists in many African traditional beliefs. She is a deity known to cause both negative and positive events in lives. Many people continue to pay homage to this deity, and mermaid sightings continue to be reported. In 2012, construction crews in Zimbabwe were scared away from their work on Gokwe and Osborne dams by an angry Mamba Muntu. The creatures were harassing workers as they attempted to complete construction on the dams. The local workers, raised in an area of folklore and myth, believed the appearance of the Mamba Muntu to be a bad omen and refused to finish construction on the dam. The local council, in an attempt to pursue the continued construction of the dams, hired white workers to finish the job. This was in an attempt to hire persons not engulfed in the legend and popularity of the Mamba Muntu sightings. However, these workers fled the construction site as well, and they vowed never to return due to the rage and harassment of the Zimbabwe River Mermaid. Now it's time for the day's best pick. And today we're going to be talking about a mermaid sighting that made quite a stir. Heck, even a reward was even set up for its capture. Find out about that story next with number 2. The Active Pass Mermaid. In 1967, British Columbia became a hub of mermaid excitement when a mermaid was spotted lounging on the shore of Main Island. The creature was seen in the early evening by passengers on ferries, close to the west entrance to Active Pass. The Daily Colonist reported on the sightings the next day, and included a photograph that it said had been taken by George Harrison of Sioux City, Iowa. The spotted creature looked like your prototypical mermaid. Long, flowing silver blonde hair, upper torso of a woman, lower body of a fish, etc., etc. Spectators must have seen it very clearly indeed, with one even saying that it had dimples on its cheeks. The same witness also said that the mermaid seemed to enjoy the wake of the ferry washing over her. Funnily enough, he also declined to have his name put on the report, fearing that his boss would think him crazy. Several witnesses also said the mermaid had a large fish, apparently coho salmon, and once swore she had taken a bite out of it. A few days later, the colonists cranked it up a notch, reporting that a $25,000 reward would be offered for the dimpled mermaid of Active Pass. The offer was made by Charles White of the Undersea Gardens, who added that a panel of competent marine biologists would have to confirm that the mermaid was the real thing. Although the report is quite unclear about it, it actually looks like White was thinking of employing the mermaid, probably to work as an attraction in the Undersea Gardens. In the report, White was saying that he would make her an offer she couldn't refuse, which includes a substantial salary, room and board, and the clincher, and I quote, a supply of those special combs that mermaids use. The dimpled mermaid was seen again about a week later at nearby Cordova Bay. It was never seen since, probably afraid of being used as a sideshow attraction, no matter how many combs she was offered. Seriously though, combs? Up your game, man. Before we move on, do me a favor. My analytics show that only about 15% of you watching are actually subscribed. Come on guys, what's up with that? Can you guys please hit the subscribe button? You guys watch my videos every day anyway, so you might as well subscribe and keep up to date with every video we put out. Number 1. The Kaiman. The Kaiman are mermaid-like creatures known from the folklore of some regions of South Africa, in which they are said to be malevolent beings resembling half-human and half-fish humanoids with glowing red eyes. They attempt to drown their victims. Obviously, this is all just mermaid mythology, right? Well, a report from 2008 suggests that there may be more than meets the eye to the Kaiman story. On the 10th of January 2008 in the Surbrock area of the South African Western Cape, a group of friends were enjoying a barbecue on the banks of Buffelshoeks River when they reported seeing the Kaiman, or he said he saw a figure like that of a white woman with long black hair thrashing about in the water. Thinking she was in trouble, he waded toward her to attempt a rescue, but said he stopped in his tracks when he noticed a reddish shine in her eyes. The sight sent shivers down his spine, but he found himself inexplicably pulled forward as if hypnotized. He somehow broke away from this trance and proceeded to call his son and nephew to help him. He then shouted to his friends to take a look as well. Which mermaid story scared you the most? Let us know in the comments section down below. Want to watch more videos on the strange and the unexplained? Click on any of the videos you see on your screen. As always, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Later, everybody.